Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge Aftershow. Tonight, Pamela, Jenna, and I are talking about the Challenge USA Episode 2, Oh Say Can You See Tiffany?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about these titles anymore.
Yeah, I don't really even understand it.
Like lack of effort, lack of time. I don't know, just stick something on there. Maybe they messed up the text of it. Like they messed up the graphic in All Stars.
Spoiler alert, tell me they're not going to every week just have the person that goes home in the title. Like, what the hell is that about?
I know. Don't title something that's like, hey, Jon Snow dies.
Right.
Hey, Jon Snow is back alive. Like,
wait, what was the title the week before? Like, it didn't say Cecily and Giovanni.
The United States of Challenge.
Right.
Okay.
Was it like the very first episode of the season? Welcome to the show.
But they're excited because Oh Say Can You See Tiffany rhymes, but like Oh Say Can You See has nothing to do with any. All right, whatever.
No, it's just like it's so choppy and disjointed. What do you mean? Oh Say Can You See Tiffany? Like I guess it rhymes, but does it make?
What does it mean? I was confused.
Bass doesn't hit the beats. Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies, I will say this: it was only a 1 hour episode, and I thought it was perfect. There's a couple things that are missing from the show so far, but it's early. But I'll let you know what those are in a hot second. What were your overall thoughts?
And join our Patreon, everybody.
Oh, yes. And our Patreon at The Challenge Aftershow. Patreon.com/The Challenge Aftershow. There's a link in the description below.
But also thanks for everybody being here watching this show on YouTube because we're getting really good, fun comments. A lot of people tuning in, paying attention. And people who just find us after a year or 2 years of us doing this remotely. So that's always fun when everyone can find us after that.
It's really nice hearing those comments too. Like, I've been looking for you guys. I can't believe I finally ran into you guys. I'm like, how do we get, follow us on Instagram, I guess, or tell your friends.
You might have to hashtag AfterBuzz.
They're Googling like, who were those 3 annoying people who would always talk shit about the challenge? One of them hates Casey. One of them hates Josh. All of them hate Zach. Who are they?
I was gonna say one of them loves everybody. They say Jenna's so nice about everyone. This is me typing, by the way. Jenna's so nice.
Doesn't like Zach.
I don't know.
Jenna doesn't like Zach. She's made that.
Made that clear.
Say I don't like Zach.
Be clear.
Well, I'm very happy with the 1 hour. I think it's great. I'll say this. The thing that's missing for me is like the classic love. I want to see some new love. Some people just meeting.
Episode 2. Wow, like no patience at all. You're like, okay, episode 1 out the door. Episode 2, give me Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, so this is what they used to do on the Challenge in real world. They would they'd have them sitting around. They'd be like, hey, so who in the house do you think is cute? And then they would just say a couple people, and then we'd all be like this. When are they going to talk to those people they said they were cute? They didn't give us any of that, right? There's no yes, we have the Tiffany and Cinco thing. But it felt like they didn't really show much of they were stretching together. I'm like, well, that doesn't really make me say, okay, there's something building here. We were heard supposedly they hooked up before the show at some point. There was that drama.
So when it started, obviously 38 seasons ago, it was a spin-off. The Challenge was a spin-off of the real world, which was literally just sitting around hooking up and getting drunk. So they had half that, half challenge, which was moderate. It is evolved. This is just a challenge competition. It is actually a reality. Like when they used to call the Challenge a reality competition show, when they started all those other ones, I was like, is it really? But this pretty much is that's what the point is.
And as much as I love the challenges and the athletic portion of it, I do realize, even though I'm really enjoying the CBS version, I miss that trashy MTV reality element like a lot. I didn't realize how significant that was to watching it. I always thought oh great, like some of these fights, but you know what? Maybe I love competition. That's why I'm here. But then when I see shows about the competition, I'm like, come on, where are these people drunkenly getting in fights with each other? Where's the ridiculous, irrational arguments?
I like this right off the bat. I'm really enjoying it. I'm so far removed at this point from enjoying MTV's Challenge that I'm not even expecting that of it. I accept this for a network show. Like,
Hmm.
I don't really even, to me, it's almost not even, they're like different shows. So I of course miss that from our challenge, but this to me, I'm like, is a different, this is the network's version of our challenge, which I think they've been moving towards in a shitty way for long enough that now I'm like, fine, just give us at least a good cast that's going to compete then. That's not like stupid fake drama. I don't know. I'm enjoying this a lot more than.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because again, we're beating a dead horse. We've talked about
Right.
this so many times, but people are very cautious of, how they might be perceived. But also, I think production companies and networks are very, very careful. And maybe putting less alcohol, less parties into the mix, doing less of that sloppy reality TV is now just the way to go, because they wouldn't dare like have, some sort of negative light shine on them for
Right.
fights or words being
Yeah.
said or
And it's unfortunate now because everything reality TV is so prevalent that it's so niche now. It's like a this, a that, a this, a young entrepreneurs that make cupcakes. Everything is so, gut boiled down that the only shows we're really going to get that on now, I think, are dating shows where you're going to get that
Mhm.
drama. It's like there's enough shows, I guess, to choose from that are focused on that. I guess that they feel like,
Well, speaking of drama, Pamela, you
uh,
said last week in a conspiracy that you thought the algorithm might not be
genuine.
truthful. It might just put people together they want to try to maybe get some drama from. And we got that this week right off the bat. Cinco and Cachet, or am I pronouncing her name wrong? So Pam, I think you are correct, because why would that happen the first episode? Or second episode. It's ridiculous.
It
So
actually is like, I wonder if producers are saying, oh, maybe they felt fearful of how long they were going to stay in the game for whatever reason. I don't know. And they're like, well, it's now or never. Let's just not miss this opportunity, put them together. And I also was curious about how
Oh, that's a
they
good thought.
were orchestrating that light or that just this
Right.
piece of technology. Like, are they sitting in a control room making it happen so quickly?
Absolutely.
Or is it, I don't know. We don't know
it's
how
all
this
they just have the lights. It's all pre-lit.
Right.
So like they know
Right.
the order of the lights they're going to light up, and they just number one, number two, and they just
Right.
have them. They switch over.
Or they have it written down and they pick each, they just
Right.
light
Or
up
they do that. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the logistics, but
Right.
yes, I 100% think that they, of course they do, make it for drama. And it worked out well. It did make for drama. That
Well, they're trying to. I mean, it created a storyline, that's for sure. The storyline fell a little flat, a little short for me, because we can get into it in a little bit. But
I actually liked this episode because of how political it was, how strategically driven it was. And we see a lot with Tiffany. Of course, it almost could be foreshadowing that we see Tiffany and Cinco in the beginning. We could think, oh, it's just a romance, or like we kind of catch on whenever they show somebody in the beginning of the episode, like right away. You feel as though this person is either going home, they're going to elimination, they're having a romance. We're obviously seeing this person for a reason. But I think we'll get into Tiffany because she has a lot of political ups and downs in this episode. But it was interesting enough to me because, Dan, to your point, you're like, I feel like it fell flat. I don't know. I was pretty interested in it just because of the appreciation of seeing how the different political strategies panned out. And
I feel like I just meant like the non-romance between Cachet and Cinco. Like Cachet, great. You're jealous. Okay. Story we've heard a million times. Nothing really happened. Like they didn't duke it out. Like they didn't have any. You just see her just murmur or mumble things on the side when she saw him carrying her or whatever.
Absolutely. But again, you don't want to see someone carrying something like you know what I mean?
Of course not. Yeah.
Like that was her ex-boyfriend. I don't know how serious meeting on Love Island and dating is what level of X, if that's a lowercase X or like a real. But I understand that she was hurt. I was into this episode. I liked the drama how it played out. Spoiler alert. Hopefully you've watched the show. But I was also super shocked, which I haven't been in a long time. Like on the edge of my seat watching the proving ground. Who was going to take it home.
Elimination.
The ups and downs I felt. It was crazy. So, and yeah, no, I think they're for making it a dulled down thing where we don't know half the people, we don't necessarily care about their past, and there's not a lot of like interpersonal drama other than the political show versus show or whatever. I'm enjoying it. I wouldn't have thought I would enjoy it this much. They are making it good.
So yeah, so you girls are both right. For what this show is, I'm definitely enjoying it. But to me, the challenge was always the mixture, like you said, Jenna, of the two things, the drama and the competition side. So now I just have to get used to the fact that, okay, this is just a competition show now. I'm not going to get to, get both of my, get all the things I like in one show. I have to watch a separate show for that. I can't get it all. I used to love getting it all in one place. I can't have my cake and eat it too, apparently, anymore. I have to eat my cake one place and go have my milk in another place. It is what
I
it
would
is.
like to hold your hand and welcome you to the Bachelor franchise.
There we go. I mean, if you want a really produced show, I feel like hop on to that one.
But it's super produced. I don't like that.
It's super produced. However, then they have Bachelor in Paradise, the redheaded stepchild.
Okay, and I have watched that
all summer, and it's a mixture of people from the leftovers. It's all the leftovers.
Yeah,
and it gets messy, and it's great. And they're literally.
Well, when the hell's a new season of that on?
So they did, everything's weird right now.
I'm so mad, Jenna. When the
Well, you have to watch to get all the context. You have to watch to learn the personalities.
I know, but is there another one premiering soon?
Listen,
The Bachelorette is on right now. It just came back.
Too deep into the Bachelor and Bachelorette, because this is a challenge after show. I do feel like we have all been going through a very long stage of grief and grieving the old challenges. How they say it's I don't really remember, denial, sorrow, acceptance, whatever the case. We have been grieving.
Anger, denial, bargaining. Can't we just put Jordan in this season with Tori and give us some?
Hey, 38.
Yeah, we've been grieving for a very, very very time.
I think 38.
Acceptance is hard for us. I can see.
Well, it is, but you know what, Jenna, I might get it with 38, and I'm staying up late at night praying that, and I'm not religious. I'm staying up real late. Knees on the ground, elbows on the side of my bed.
You have just a rosary bead of TJ Lavin.
Yeah, TJ, Bunham, Murray.
Right, exactly. Oh, that's the whole. That's the three, the Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, right?
TJ, Bunham, and
Murray.
Exactly. Yeah.
Please give us some drama for 38. Please.
Right. And they always say, pray to the challenge gods, right? Before the eliminations and the challenges. Those are the challenge gods.
That's the challenge trinity.
You're still missing one. There's supposed to be someone here, though, that we're skipping over, but it's fine.
Right. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Oh, Holy Spirit's one thing. Okay. So,
Father, Son, Holy. What do you think?
Have I been doing it wrong? When I used to go to church, it was Father, Son, then the Holy Spirit across.
I don't know.
We made that up. It's Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Right, the Holy Spirit's a dragon.
It's the whole thing. Yeah.
Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Ladies, the challenge of the day is called Yeah Boy, but it's like a buoy.
Buoy.
Wait, do we want to talk a little bit more about this ticker or any of the teams that came out?
Well, we're going to talk about them all right now. I thought during the thing.
Shout out real quick to Danny again, who's like, my wife Kiki says, that he is so cute. And don't you want to meet Kiki and see? It makes me.
I wrote, Danny loves himself some Kiki. That's the only thing I wrote down for him tonight.
It was really the same thing. I was like, people, sure, yay, partners. But then that was of course his aside.
So I think we should talk about the partners as they performed, because I have the list of them here, and I have the order in which they performed in, so we can do it like that.
Oh
yes.
When I say performed, I mean competed.
Okay.
They weren't in a stage show of cats that we were unaware of. However, Leo may have been at some point in his life. Speaking of Leo,
my only takeaway was just that the only really through lines from episode 1 that they could manipulate these partners to be entertaining, they did, and it's Cash and her ex Cinco, as well as Tyson and Justine, because Justine's best friend got sent home
by Tyson. Right? They tried some stuff. So we're under the assumption so far, as of right now, that they are purposely putting certain people together to try to build some drama, and it makes complete sense. Why wouldn't they take advantage of that? They're hopefully they're smart enough to realize we want to see drama.
I feel like they also had to try to strategize to equalize some of the teams in terms of the numbers for each show. So Alyssa's with Enzo. X is with Azza. Those are big brother. And then they have James and Kayla, who are together.
They did them dirty. I was like,
they did them dirty.
Yeah, if it's on purpose, right? They did them
dirty on purpose.
The smallest. It's there's only 3 of them, and you're gonna put them together. Maybe they figured oh shucks, that's too easy. Like, why would we take them out? I don't know. But then them winding, it all played out interestingly. So
Yeah.
But the producers, they're not fortune tellers. Like if you remember Tori being on our show for the last season of the challenge with the rookies and the vets, she said the producers honestly did not expect that in that season, the veterans were just going to team up with each other and pick off the rookies. They really didn't think so. They thought that the vets hated each other enough to maybe make friends with some of the rookies and for the lines to be blurred, but it really was just rookie vets. So with some of the
made for a fucking boring season. It's like,
totally.
Yeah.
And now they're doing the whole show thing, like you just said. But like, how can you not be rooting for Survivor then? I want. There's only 3 of them.
Amazing Race.
Sorry, yes, Amazing Race. Only 3 of them. Of course, I'm rooting for all 3 of those people.
Oh, me too.
How can you not? There's only 3 of them.
Right.
Everyone else has a baker's dozen. Not really, but yeah.
And I don't even if anyone knows. I can guess because it's called The Amazing Race. That like the premise, but I don't even know anything about. Like I've seen an episode.
I've seen commercials for it. They run all over the world or whatever, or a city.
Okay, but I love that James. Like James and Danny right now are the standouts for me. And James is, again, I was surprised, but like, wow, he gets knocked down, but he gets up again. Like he is not taking.
His biggest strength is his ability to articulate to whoever's in power or wheel and deal. He's really strategic, and not even just strategic. He also just, I don't know, he presents himself very well in a way that it makes sense to that person in power.
He's logical and straightforward.
Yes, exactly.
But it makes sense. And obviously it's to benefit him, but it seems like that's secondary. Some people are not good at it because it's just like begging or sort of pleading their case. Even someone like a Wes, or it just comes across as manipulative, even if it is logical, it's for you.
Right, exactly.
But he does it in a way that's like, sure, I don't want to leave, but the smartest thing you could possibly do is X, Y, and Z. And it works. Like because what he says is logical. I'm like, yeah, all right, fine. I wouldn't pick him either then.
Yeah.
I like it work.
I like James a lot. Unfortunately, I think a lot of his skills are going to be hit or miss for every challenge. Like you saw in the daily challenge, he did awful. He couldn't do anything. But then in the finale, he was like, in the elimination, he was kicking ass and taking names. So it's like, well, what James are we going to see?
Right. Well, I wonder again, nobody wakes up and jumps off of a bridge onto a buoy of tires every day. Like it's probably not something he's ever done or trained for. And I haven't seen enough to totally like die on the hill defending him, but I do think he is athletic. And I think sometimes if you take one bad hit, like if he got the wind knocked out of him, he's probably terrified to do it again. And it just kind of like gets you off kilter the whole time. You're not steamrolling through it as if you hit that success right away. So he took a bad fall, and I think that just kind of screwed him up.
I agree. I mean, I don't know because I don't know shit about James. Right. I wouldn't have guessed in a million years. Again, I keep spoiling the final, but I wouldn't have guessed. I was like, oh well, bye James. Nice. No, it's nice knowing you. Too bad.
Right.
There's no way in hell I thought those 2 were going to beat the other 2.
But then again, they purposely gave him an endurance one. It's not like he had to go and do a pole wrestle against
but memory with a partner. There's so many. There's a
lot of variables. I like this elimination. Yeah. I thought it was exciting and really hard. I could imagine the endurance that was necessary for that. And I really loved James and Caleb because they were having fun with it. How could they have so much fun in a proving ground in an elimination? Like how I've never seen 2 people just be like lit up, like they actually felt like they were at a cycling class.
And I think that helped
up
them.
The crowd, being like such showmen. And also, since we're on the elimination, those symbols were really difficult. Like I really don't know how. And again, I'm sure the editing was very produced. I'm sure the symbols were up for longer.
Right.
But there was no way you were memorizing all 12, even if each partner took a line to get 6 of those symbols were so random. You couldn't even come up really with like an analogy or a word for them.
I think one of James's biggest strengths, and Kayla's too, is not taking themselves too seriously and not taking the situation too seriously. Just being in the moment, say, hey, let's have fun while we're doing this, because you know what? It's going to end in 20 minutes no matter what. So let's just try our best and have fun with it instead of letting ourselves get too worked up over it or worried. And they worked great as a team. And this is why I kind of it's kind of sucks because I kind of want to see them as a team again, and we're
Me
not
too.
going to for a very long time. So
I
Yeah.
felt that about a lot of teams. So
Yeah.
if we finally want to get into the challenge of the day, because you know us, we're always on track and we always hit every beat in order.
but
I
maybe
was
that's it though, Jenna. Maybe every week we're gonna like certain teams and wish they could stay together. So maybe it's a good thing the producers are doing it what they're doing.
Right.
This is
Maybe we're gonna fall in love with more teams.
another random, but I love like all over the place, but I loved Shan, and I enjoyed the cut to edit of like Shan news. They had her giving the gossip.
It's
I
all
didn't
right.
hate that at all because she was like, I'm not just gonna gossip, I'm gonna gossip with a purpose. Like I liked her breaking it down. I enjoyed that, and I think it's funny because she's the one that's like a pastor, and she's the biggest. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
that
so
right?
that's
Yeah.
why I think it's funny. She's like a like, I like that that's her professional thing, but that is not who she's playing a game.
Yeah, it was playful, although I did feel it. Like it hit me as, oh, this is CBS's touch on this. I don't know. I
Yes.
kind of felt like, oh, you can tell that this might be a different team of producers.
Yeah.
And the challenge does funny, goofy stuff like that all the time, where they make something black and white, or they play the dramatic music, or like they animate something.
They have a lower
on
budget. They'll
somebody.
just draw devil horns.
Yeah.
And panda and like pyrotechnics in the back. That's
Yes, they
just love
absolutely do
pyrotechnics.
it too. But the newsroom it had a different feel to it. I was like, I think
Corporate. We've gone corporate. Now they put it in a news desk instead of devil horns and explosions.
exactly. It's not like the fun producers in the back of a trailer in Puerto Rico. It's like the news producers from CBS.
Yeah.
So in regards to the challenge of the day, it still amazes me how many people cannot swim. I don't understand it. I think that if you know you're going on the challenge, like they said, oh, we looked up all the shows, you can watch them on Paramount Plus. They're swimming like at least 6 times throughout the season. So why aren't they just hit a pool, swim around? It's not hard to do these things. Find a lake, find a pond, go in the ocean.
With Cashy. It's like, or Cachet. It's like, Cachet, welcome to the 5 tenets of success for challengeism. Like,
Well, there you go.
If you're going to be like, I can't do that, then like, yeah, you got to know how to swim, at least a little.
And it wasn't even just her though. There's a good amount of people. Like, how about Leo, who's obsessed with cats, and you see him in the water doing the doggy paddle? I'm like, well, what's up with that?
Well, aren't cats scared of the water?
Well, my joke was that he was doing the doggy paddle though. He didn't. You throw a cat in the water, you're right. They'll jump right out.
Leo, rare. I wasn't actually that mad at Cash. I didn't feel any anger. Because she powered through. I mean,
I wasn't mad. I just amazed that
editing.
they're like, oh, we don't know how to swim. Like, you're 20 something years old. Where in your high school years do you just hop in the water somewhere? There's water everywhere.
Or
Not everyone
Grew up on a lake.
on a lake.
They got pools, Pam or Jenna. They got pools.
Yeah. They've got all sorts of things, beaches, pools, all sorts of wet places to swim.
Rivers.
Wet places to swim. What are the dry places to swim?
No, I said all sorts of places.
Oh, I thought you said wet places.
No, but hold on. So swimming. Oh, and then back to what you were saying about, sorry, she's jealous. I had to
Oh yeah. Cash is yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
I had to go back to where we were and where I went with that, which was yes. And then Cash was motivated because he said, "I need you," and that's what.
Oh.
It's like, oh, you're upset. You still like this guy. He's flirting with another girl. I did feel for her, and at first I thought she was like, I wasn't on her team, and then I was like, "Go girl." I mean, like I love Tiffany, so I was, and I think she brings a lot to the table. So I don't know necessarily if I liked that they got rid of her, but I was like, look at that sneaky manipulating from the Love Island girls.
Pamela, you said last week when you saw Shannon with makeup on, without makeup on, that she looked completely different. But I thought she looked good either way. But when I saw her get out of the water and they showed her at the end, I said, who's that? And I said, oh my God, and she looked great. It wasn't like she looked bad, but I was like, she did look very different.
Blow up doll look that, like, again, obviously
she looks so different though. So I'll agree with you. Like, I had to think like, what other blonde girls on this show? Oh wait, it's still Shannon.
Forgot about Shannon from the first week. had no idea who that girl was and was like, that girl's beautiful. Who is she?
Oh, you're okay. Yeah.
No idea who she was. Like,
Yeah.
you just made me remember. That's how much I think she
I was like, oh yeah, it would really
I had
threw me
no
off.
idea. I think she's gorgeous, actually, without. I think she's like
Yeah.
naturally really pretty. I was like, she looks like an actress. Like, who is it? Like, she looks. I didn't know who she was.
Jenna, do you remember seeing that shot we're talking about?
I don't remember having that feeling. I don't remember.
But do you remember seeing
that
her?
person?
They only showed her once, like at the end after she was all done. She was obviously wet from the water, and like there was no makeup on.
Because I remember her dry and like getting her partner and looking like sort of serious and like no makeup. And she was in the front of like the standing situation, and I had no idea she was that person. Like, until you just said that. All I thought when I saw that girl, who now I'm like, oh my God, was that girl so beautiful? Who is she? I guess we'll learn. Like, I guess
I'll learn later.
Yeah,
like she registered as so like my response to her without makeup is that she's like a stunner, and then her like Instagram face, like looking like a filter, is
Instagram face.
Yeah, I don't know what that face is that they all look. Then you just look like a real housewife or something. I don't know.
Besides Tyson, ladies, who did you like? Who do you think performed well in this thing? We're going to talk about Tyson in a second.
We want to talk about Tyson in a second. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to do a whole thing on him because I think that's, but everyone else was kind of like montage, Tyson. Like, okay. That's what happened.
Takeaways from the challenge is I think Tiffany performed really, really wonderfully. Cashel is good. I think he's athletic.
And they're both gone now.
And they're both gone. And skipping forward, I was bummed to lose him too, because I think he would have just been a great competitor. And I feel like we lost him early, because coming in, I didn't know who that guy was at all, but it's only episode 2. So maybe it's a knee-jerk reaction, but I feel like he's really fit and strong. And the fact that Tyson was even kind of worried about him really surprised me, because he does come from Love Island. He does come from one of those more like trashy or datey type of reality shows instead of like an Amazing Race or Survivor that might have a little bit more like, I don't know, clout or respect to it. So for him to kind of be sniffing Cashel out already, I was like, this guy, I wish that he stuck around longer, because I think he could have been the real deal.
Which is why
I was dying that he put Kira's name on the board as a word.
I told you he loves Kira.
I know.
Blinders.
So with that said about those two, though, I think storyline wise, losing those two early, man, we missed out on some fun storylines that could have happened. It's disappointing for sure.
I'm with you. I'm gonna say,
as much as I don't like Tiffany and whatnot, like she just rubbed me the wrong way. And I even wrote down like, just like the house, we all didn't trust Tiffany. Like I was like, I don't trust this girl. And the entire house doesn't. We'll get into it in a little bit. But yeah, but losing them, I think storyline wise, there was so much more to explore there with both of those two competitors.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's why I absolutely was surprised. I think like Cashel has the ex in the house. Tyson's, that's who he's just.
Yeah, I know, but were you girls rooting for them, or were you rooting for James and Kayla?
I mean, story wise, I didn't even think it was I was like, bye, James. I'm gonna be sad to see you go.
Okay, I thought they were gonna lose too, but I just wondering who were you rooting? Because I went from rooting for James and Kayla. Halfway through, I went over to Tiffany. I was like, oh no, I want them because they'll be a better storyline. But then I see Tiffany pumping that thing so slow. I'm like, no. I'm going back to James. They're having more fun over there because they were doing freaking workouts. So I'm like, I'm back on their team. Very confusing.
I'll be honest, from the beginning of the elimination, I was rooting for James and Kayla, because as much as I like Tiffany, and this episode made me feel conflicted as a viewer in terms of the girl kind of culture in the house, because I don't think that Tiffany was necessarily doing anything wrong or crossing a line by being flirtatious with Cinco. However, I do understand how someone like Cash would direct her anger towards the girl who's kind of, maybe more of the decoy. But I also think the Love Island girls were just really keenly aware of the way that she was kind of infiltrating the minds of the guys, and kind of creating that bond, that she became the heart of not only the Cookout and the Big Brother alliances, but was also bringing in the boys from Love Island. And the girls from Love Island felt territorial towards them because that's their show, that's their alliance. So it made me feel a little bit conflicted of like, wow, well, Tiffany is working these guys, good for her, doing what she needs to do, right? Part of the game, excel in the game. But then I also felt like, you know what, Love Island girls, you too. If you're sniffing it out and you want to play the game, then you play the game. And I also felt, oh, where am I going with this? I can't remember.
I will continue for you because that was really well said, Jenna. I completely
until I blacked out.
Well, until you blacked out, but that was you reminded me of how I felt because I watched it. It seems like I've been traveling all day, so it seems like a century ago, even if though it was last night. But it was also a roller coaster. Like at first, I didn't even think that Kayla and James had a chance, so I was just like, oh, how will this play out? Then I was rooting for them because they were more fun. Then I also bounced around, Dan, and then ultimately was happy and was like, shoo, bold move, sad for myself. But I agree that I wasn't conflicted. I think I went like, point. And then was like, wow, good moves, Tyson and Justine. So then I was like, then I just was sort of like, I don't know, I'm on everybody's side. Like I see both sides. But I like the gameplay of it all. And I think that kind of shit, I think that Tiffany and Keschel, I think that they were like literally just so blindsided that they couldn't have, I think that's a big deterrent or stack against you when you have no fucking idea you're going down there.
Yeah.
And you feel safe.
I understand that, but like, I know we're skipping ahead here, but why the hell was she pumping those pedals so slow? Like you could literally see how slow it was.
She probably doesn't cycle, and it was. I think she was tired.
I don't think
no hat on. I was like,
I don't think you need to be like a pro cyclist to just move your legs as fast as possible. I don't think like doing this. I can do this with my hands. Like if I did this with my hands every
20 minutes, you might move your hands a little slower. I mean,
but
like it was
from the start. No, from the
maybe. And I was thinking,
again,
this is a sprint and a marathon. Like you need to have endurance, but you need to sprint the whole time. And if she went hard for the first 2 minutes, then she's probably sucking wind for the next 12, but now I'm remembering why I was coming full circle on Tiffany was because I kind of was happy that she got rooted in, because even though I respect her gameplay, I do feel as though maybe she feels as though she has so much control and the game was kind of bit back at her. Like she was so quick to kind of throw in another Big Brother team. And I get it. You're given an ultimatum. You're two friends from Big Brother, one who wasn't even on your season and one who wasn't in your alliance. Like, sure, say Alyssa and Enzo. Like, I get it. But I do think, she might get a big head on where she stands in controlling the game. So I kind of was like, damn girl, like you thought you had all the checkers pieces, but they were playing chess the whole time. So that's why I was kind of like,
well, and I think Tyson, who again I don't know very well, but obviously looking ahead, as you said, was like, fuck it, let's get them out. Which I thought was bold of them because I didn't think they would lose. So it's like you're gonna put people up and then they're gonna come back and now you're gonna have an enemy. And I'm happy because it's a great storyline, but not that smart. And then I was like, you want big results, you gotta make big moves. Like that was big. He got rid of who he was saying considered his biggest competition and who was a big part of the Big Brother, pyramid, who was the head of and heart of that sort of alliance and pulling a lot of strings. So it was like, damn, it was good game.
But then, I was surprised that Tyson made that move because I did think they were going for too big of a team and people on the MTV show wouldn't have made that move because they would have maybe had the fear or foresight of Tiffany and Cashel being the team to come back and ruffling.
Right.
So I was very shocked that they made that move. But then to come even more full circle, because my emotions were just a roller coaster of this episode, when Tiffany and Cashel ended up losing, I did actually feel kind of bad for Tiffany because I thought, even though, part of me felt as though maybe she had a big head about being the mastermind of everything, and I wanted her humbled a little bit. Seeing how she lost the elimination, I was like, oh man, that actually is kind of sad because why am I hating on her for being so politically involved in shows when like
you're not hating on Tyson for
exactly.
Right. Like, we're praising his big game moves and we're like, how dare she try and make game moves? Right.
Yeah. So that's why I just felt so conflicted as a viewer this whole time. I'm like, so why was should I have been bothered by Tiffany why do I have all these mixed feelings? You know?
I mean, you can say, is it the way she went about it is versus the way he went about it? But again, they're both kind of lying to everybody, or they're both trying to manipulate the system. But let's talk about Tyson a little bit. Tyson is the best character on this show for a bunch of reasons. For me personally, I mean, maybe it's because he reminds me of Wes. I don't know, but whatever. I think he's the best character on this show. And guess what? Even if Tiffany comes back, he doesn't care. He'll talk. He'll just say something nice to her and he'll move on. He'll say, come and get me next one, whatever. It's a freaking show. He's kind of doing what James is doing, where he's like, I'm not going to take this too seriously. I'm going to work my ass off and I'm going to let the cards lay where they fall and just be done with it and have fun the whole time. And he's kicking ass and taking names. Episode 2, he's my favorite character. Maybe that'll change next week, but he's just the most exciting one for sure.
No, I enjoy him, and he gives good like asides too. Like that's a biking trick. Like you never let him like, hey, going back in, like act like you're fine. Don't.
You're right. He's got great confessionals like Wes does. That's such a funny thing that he said. I love that. That was great.
And it gives insight too, because you think, God, this guy is a beast, but he's like, no, I'm secretly really panting back here. And he also is saying, I'm scared now. He was like, I'm scared they're coming back. Like
he's showing us all his cards too, right? We get to play along with him. He's given us everything he's doing. He's saying, hey, watch me do this now.
That's why we liked Kyle and why we like Wes. Like we like when they're like, I told her she was safe, but like she's not fucking safe in my
his intensity, the way he speaks so intense does kind of scare me a little bit in the confessions. I'm like, oh my God, look out, serial killer. Like the way he talks sometimes.
I mean, it's a lot of money we're talking here. So, you know, people may kill for less than that. So in the way he's going for,
like he's always just in the same tone, you know, he's always 100 intense in your face.
That's what I think we're gonna have to adjust to his flat humor.
But he's also backing it up, though.
Animated. No, but I mean, not the serial killer. I think he's being really funny, but what he says, he doesn't deliver things in like a silly, goofy, sarcastic, funny way. He delivers things like,
he's going for humor, but in a more
like, I've never honored God more than when I won a giant check in front of America. Like at first I was like, what is this creep talking about? And then you're like, oh, he's joking. So I think once we get to know him more, it'll be apparent that he's mostly joking. His delivery is so stoic.
And yes, Tyson stands out obviously as a competitor, but we can't talk about him in this challenge without Justine, because she absolutely killed it as well. And earlier when we were talking about partnerships that we like, I would actually really love if these two stayed together and had been able to compete in other challenges, because Justine is athletic too. And they were the only ones that, at least that we could see, again, because of the edit, that used a strategy of, you do the words, I'm going back and forth. We didn't see anybody else do that. And it worked. They blew everybody else out of the water.
Let me say this one thing though. I think whoever gets teamed up with Tyson is going to have a good week. I just think that he's that.
Crossword puzzle though.
I'm not saying. All right, look, we can all put words together once they're in front of us. Tyson went in the water more than. But Tyson went in the more water more than anybody. So she had more letters to work with. Is my point. That's all I'll say. Now you can defend her.
I think also another reason, Dan, why you like Tyson and why you like them as a pairing is that there's also, again, thanks MTV for the algorithm for CBS, but yes, there's inherent drama there as well. He's like, I don't know. And Dan, you like it because Tyson, yes, we play with him. He says, I don't know this girl. Is she going to hate me? I sent her best friend home. And then we get to see them work really well together. I was about to not like Tyson when he was like, this is mine to win. I'm like, now I have to show I'm the best. Like I've showed it last week. Now I have to prove it, like keep my streak. And I was like, you probably wouldn't have won without Angela. And then it's like, no, he won again. He didn't need Angela to win. So I did I was like, okay. I mean, I'm not trying to discount her role in their win, but I think he is the common denominator at this point.
I do as well.
He's always having to, I think he's always going to have I need to prove it mentality, even if he is heads and shoulders above anybody else. But I think that's what makes great athletes so great, is because they are always trying to prove themselves. They're never going to be like, okay, I'm all right just sitting on the bench this game. Like I scored 40 yesterday. Like I'll just hit the bench this one. It's like, no, you want to show every time. You want people to say like, damn, he did it again. Oh, he is just amazing.
Right. Like whenever like an athlete or even like people in movies when they're like, I'll die for this. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't die for that. Like, I'd be like, so we'll get blown up. Like, I'm not going into that.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Tyson eat some disgusting food then. How about that? That's gonna be, will that be his Achilles heel? We don't know. I mean, he was
no, I don't think that will. Let's guess. Let's play a game called What Will Tyson's Achilles Heel Be? I think
possibly his strength. I would say that's it.
And I liked also that he was like, I'm scared of Cashel. You know, he's got bigger muscles than
right. I think he'll eat.
Are they popcorn muscles or are they real?
Right? I think he'll eat anything, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna
do you think he might be able to be out strategized or out politicked by somebody? Because now it's two episodes in a row. It's 2 episodes in a row now where James has been in his ear, and it seems not that James is an outright puppet master. We don't know yet, but this is now twice in a row where we see James kind of leading Tyson to where James wants him to go, and he's taking the bait. So it could just be the simple fact that James is right. He was, I mean, well, the first episode was like a do what you want with this. You know, all he did was really just attempt a strategy. But I think in this episode, he was right with what he said. Or is it that he said it with so much conviction that the sales pitch got to me? Sometimes you say something confidently and it comes off like, oh, this person must be right. It's politics 101.
I agree with you, Jenna, so much that I'm like excited by this theory. I think that Tyson's Achilles heel might be his ego, and James is so good at knowing really subtly what, because I have seen him say like, oh, and last week the line was like, you know, it seems like she really listens to you, and this one he said like, you're gonna want to take out, like it's not that he's a puppet master in a Wes way, not to keep bringing Wes up, but he's not a puppet master and like, I'm planning this scam and I told this one and I watched my dominoes fall or whatever. He knows how to get. Tyson thinks these are all his ideas. You know what I mean? Like he knows how to make him think he thought of it, which is the best ego stroking way to get your own way.
I mean, but the only reason Tyson's getting to even make these decisions is because he's winning every week. And what's James doing? Falling on his back and gasping for air. So there's going to be that too. James can only do so much from the sideline. He only whisper in his ear so much. Like, dude, I'm in the game. I'm shooting the 3-point shot. You're giving out the little water cups like I used to do. I don't
know. This is not that. This is not where one's a player and one's on the sidelines.
It is during the daily challenges, though.
Sometimes.
It's the old saga of Johnny Bananas. Johnny Bananas and his arrogance and his politics always pissed us off, but he was able to do it because he just won. Right. You know, when he was in his peak and his prime, like that good, like 4 back-to-back seasons, I feel like he was just always winning daily challenges. So he could backstab people. He could make side deals and then throw that person in because no one else was knocking him off of his throne. So if Tyson's always in that power position, it's very similar.
It's interesting. I wonder if eventually people will be like, we got to get rid of him or he's just going to win. Like, you know, how long he's allowed to just keep dominating before.
Well, ladies, I wanted to
long enough to become the villain.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you ladies about this though. Xavier, when him and Tyson are talking, he's like, yeah, I'm on board. Throw Tiffany in. I don't give a crap, whatever. He said, tell me more about this because I thought you told me that this cookout thing was like they're ride or die. They went all the way to the end trying to keep each other in this game for Big Brother. But he turned his head on Tiffany real quick.
Well, I have a few interpretations of that. And again, it's an interpretation. One is that the editing felt wonky. And I'm not going to say that X didn't say that.
But they showed him saying it, correct?
Wait, what did he say? He said, I'm cool with you putting them in.
Yeah, he said, I'm cool with it.
Okay. Because refresh me of that conversation.
It was so quick. It was quick, like Jenna says. It's very quick.
It was very like choppily put together that it made me be like, that felt like a weird switch to that angle. And then X is just like, yeah, I got you. I'm cool with it. It just felt, again.
I remember X and Alyssa talking and I was like,
Alyssa, or maybe that's what we saw. But either way, he said he was cool.
What Tyson asked X was, if I put Tiffany in, will you help me do damage control for that situation?
Oh.
X was like, yeah, the cool. So my one interpretation was like editing was weird. Again, I don't doubt that was his response to that exact question, but we'll never know for sure. It just felt very like choppy. So I was like, that's weird. My second one was the conversation with X and Alyssa. I think X is separating the two games. So Big Brother, they were the cookout and it was for a mission. And a lot of the commenters on our last show pointed out that, I take responsibility. I don't think I did a good enough job of describing what their goal was. And it was to get the first Black winner of Big Brother, because there had never been one in the entirety of that show airing of 23 seasons, right? Or 22. I can't remember the exact season number.
I think they were on 23.
We should share. X also posted, a really great explanation, better than I could say it, or I don't know, of what the cookout stood for and so we should share that with people, because he said it really well. And that's exactly, he's like, because of things, a Black person, mainly a Black female, is never going to win Big Brother if we didn't do that. If we didn't have this lines, it would never happen.
Exactly. So they had to make the ultimate sacrifices, and they all did make best friends with somebody else. And for X, it was Alyssa. For Tiffany, it was a girl named Claire. And Tiffany had to tell Claire, because it got that end to the wire, where Tiffany and Claire, like, Claire's thinking like, Tiff's my number one, we're going to the end together. And Tiffany was like, I'm sorry, I have to just tell you what's up. And I can't bring you with me. I have to vote you out, because we want to make a Black person go to the final. Like, we have this goal, we have this mission, I have to do this. And Claire totally accepted and understood. And although it was hard for her, she was just like, I can't not support that. So that's kind of the backstory. However, I do think X probably still has some guilt towards Alyssa. And I think Alyssa approaching him, just saying, be straight up. Like, are you going to help me in an alliance? Like, what's the deal with us? Are we friends? Are you going to lie to me again? I think that guilt is maybe weighing on X. And I think maybe he's trying to separate, like, okay, Big Brother, the cookout was phenomenal and historic, and we did that. But now this is the challenge, and Alyssa is my girl and my good friend. Maybe in this game, I'm going to have Alyssa's back.
And Alyssa said it was 65 days in the Big Brother house that he lied to me. So I understand completely why she's having trust issues with him and asking him questions in this episode.
I don't like when people say lied to me. Like, he didn't lie to you. He just had enough, like, that. This is whatever, who cares? What's
the definition of lied to you, Pamela?
Lie to you is, I am a tall blonde woman from Kentucky. Like, that's a lie. Just not informing you that I have a fucking secret alliance.
A secret alliance. That's a lie.
No, it's not.
You're lying that
I'm omitting my secret alliance, but I'm not lying. I'm not saying, I don't know, whatever. My take, which Jenna, again, well said. I think maybe I'm just delirious, but I think you're very well spoken tonight. Yeah,
you're delirious because I'm
you are prepped, Jenna. You prepped so well for the show. No,
that was really, but also really good, because I was going to say, which now seems cheap and insignificant, that X and Tiffany, I think, are both the alphas. And sometimes one big dog don't want another big dog there, So it was like, fine, we're going to get rid of the other alpha, because they also didn't always they butted heads sometimes. They were both the alphas in the cookout. They're both the most sort of.
And I was going to say something like that too. If everyone's not trusting Tiffany, why not let someone else?
Her likes her, but like, fuck that.
No, I just mean everybody in the house seemed to just decide, oh yeah, we'll just all go against her. She is going to cause a lot of drama. She is going to try to manipulate everybody. Why not have it be on Tyson's hands and try to get her out of the house early, and it actually works? So why not go after her?
And super side note, forgive me, I've been traveling for 19 hours. Jenna, are you watching this season of Big Brother?
I am.
We have to do our Patreon on that, because Dan, now you only have like 2 episodes to watch.
I watched the last 5 minutes of it last night, and I was so confused because it was going into this episode of this show. Up,
because that's what we should do our Patreon on.
I saw some girl crying. She's very upset.
It's a crazy situation, and and it's interesting.
Is the guy's name Danny? Did I see some guy named Danny with like
I didn't
the bandana and long hair?
I didn't watch tonight today. Okay, sorry. So Patreon people, if you want to hear us cover Big Brother for Patreon, and I think we'll get, now that this is on CBS, we'll be merging our audiences, get a lot of people. We should discuss this, because it's very interesting. Because Dan, since you saw the last 5 minutes, I'm not even spoiling anything. Case in point, the cookout, their big brother has this trend of the older person always goes home, the black female, and here we go again all of a sudden. And that's what I think is interesting to discuss, because the whys, so, are they're there, but you've got the oldest guy who happens to be black and then a black female are the two people on the block. So it's like, what the fuck? You do need.
I hadn't seen that episode, so now I know.
Oh,
well,
what?
thanks,
I thought you
Pam.
just didn't see tonight.
No,
I'm
I
so
didn't see
sorry.
that. It's okay. It's okay. And I do play Big Brother fantasy with my friends, and both of those people.
You're 2 episodes behind. So.
Both
and there's. It's an interesting. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm so sorry.
But both of those people you just described are people that I drafted on my fantasy team. So either way, I lose the first.
Or not, because we don't know what the backstage
or whatever.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know. There is still some.
I don't even know what backstage means, so I really got to get watching this show.
The show's kind of stupid, but it's easy. It's like literally like Love Island. It's like on every night, and nothing really happens. You can just watch the results.
Any hookups yet?
I don't care that much.
Are there any hookups yet?
No, but someone's trying, sort of. There's a Mormon kid and a real hot girl. We'll see.
All right. I wanted like a guarantee. Yes, there's a hookup. So I'm intrigued,
Yeah, sorry,
but okay.
back to the challenge. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, I will say back to the challenge. One of the other thoughts I have is that I do feel like people like respect game a little bit more in this show, and they're not as like sensitive as the people on the MTV show. And maybe it's because the friendships aren't as bonded, they aren't as strong. Although it seems like the Love Island girls are definitely best friends. It seems like a lot of people on show are close to one another, but it just feels like they understand, oh, like this is a political game, and they're not joshing around the house every time someone has something to say about them. So I kind of like that element too. And
I think
like,
especially if you're on the
chin.
if you're on the same season as someone else, how could you not be, and you guys got along somewhat? I mean, you're going to be working together. It's
right. Yeah. And with the MTV and why we loved it is like, because first of all, you're playing for Subway and $1,000 back in the day, Subway sandwiches for a week and like $1,000 and maybe a sidekick.
I think they made those Subway sandwiches for a year, Pamela, the whole year.
Fine, awesome. But like they really came in as friends. They didn't meet as competitors, most of them. They were on shows together before they were competing together. So the friendships meant a lot more. With this, it's like, sure. Yeah, no, I want a fucking $500,000 or 700. Like I'd stab either of you in the back for $750,000.
If we were on a game show, we'd have to respect it.
Right. I mean, right. Like, exactly. I would hope it wouldn't be like,
I just hope that you would at least give me like a few thousand after the show ends. Just like something to lessen the load, right?
I always do wonder if they do side deals like that. Because
I'm sure. Well,
yeah, like
there was a rumor that came out where Amanda said that Ashley gave her money or vice versa. They said, no, she didn't. She never gave me anything.
Well, that was just they said that she did that because Amanda sacrificed herself.
Well, that's my point. But then Ashley said she never did it. Or Amanda said it never happened. But like supposedly there was a little side. They gave your money. Oh, hey, you sacrificed yourself. Here's $5,000. Whatever. She won a freaking $1 million. So whatever.
Yeah. I'd give her more than 5. Yeah. But
ladies, any other final thoughts on Knowledge is Power, which is the name of the elimination tonight, by the way?
Oh, I get it. Because powering up the thing. Sure.
Yeah. Again, they're just so witty with these.
Guys trying to memorize these symbols and what tools we're using to do that.
Kayla did a good job. She kind of like made a story out of it. It was kind of interesting. I'm like, I don't know if I would do it that way, but if one looks like a dumbbell, I'm like, okay, a dumbbell. I can remember the dumbbell. Yeah, I got that one.
I think that was a really smart idea because not only were the symbols so random in and of themselves, they were probably so hard to remember in a specific order too, because you're already trying to remember, like I kept trying to associate them to real life items or things and they just weren't, like it had to be like,
right,
electricity, but kind of backwards and upside down.
Triangle, circle, but
yeah.
They didn't show this, and maybe the contestants did this, but why didn't one person memorize the top one and the next person memorize the bottom?
They did show James saying real quick. It was a very quick, but he was like, "You take top, I'll take bottom." Like right.
Okay.
So they did.
I thought he was referencing like sexual positions. I'm so sorry.
No, but they did say that the way they showed it to us. I guess 10 seconds isn't as short as it seems, but I was like, are you kidding? I couldn't even get 2 of those symbols.
Yeah, they did not keep it up there because 10 seconds is like a 30 seconds for someone to watch on a screen. Like we're like,
right.
They're never taking it down. What are we doing? Yeah.
Right. But it felt like the way it was. I was like, good God, how are they doing this? So I think she had an amazing, her name's Kayla, right? I keep wanting to call her Janelle. I don't know why. Kayla. Yeah. So Kayla, yes, she had a good strategy. That was the only thing that would have clicked for me, as some sort of like make up some association to make these things mean something, because they were so random. Like it wasn't
a good
like,
strategy, and James absolutely kicked ass on the bike. He definitely cycles because his endurance, he was ready for it. Like they were not tired. They did not gas out. At times Kayla looked like maybe she would, but through James's hyping her up and his compliments, they did so well together. I think it was so early to lose Tiffany and Cashel, you know, and it also makes me have another thought about these partnerships is, if again, like Tyson and Justine, great together, Tyson and Angela, of course, Tyson's the common denominator, but those were strong teams. You know, what if Tyson was with like a way weaker significant other, bad term, but you know what I mean. So
yeah,
was with Tiffany. What if Cashel was with Desi? What if Cashel was with Angela? What if Cashel was with, you know, because Tiffany maybe didn't have the endurance, maybe she wasn't ready for like full competition because Big Brother was like dizzy bat and skee ball.
Well,
so what
let
if
me ask you this.
Cashel had been with someone else?
Tiffany versus Justine in an elimination. Who are you taking? You don't know what it is. You don't, you just see, because you find out they're going against each other. Tiffany versus Justine. I'm taking Tiffany, right?
if it's a physical, if it's a hall brawl, yeah.
I wouldn't say that for sure. I think Justine.
Of course, I'm not asking. No, I'm just saying if you'd have no idea what it is, so you're going Justine, like it's hard to do that. That's my point. Like
Tiffany looks more athletic and bigger and stronger. So
that's why I would choose Tiffany. Right. Exactly. So you just have no idea. Like all these girls who you're saying were weak, they might not be that weak depending on what this thing is.
Well,
anybody can win these damn eliminations.
Did Tiffany, did she go in the water at all? Like, didn't both partners have to do a jump and a collect?
Yeah, she did, but and Tiffany was really good at the Scrabble portion of it, the werewolf.
No, she was great. Yeah.
They got thrown in. They had no choice. It's not like they could be like,
everyone had to go in. It wasn't just like you could be like, oh, okay.
No, well, I think, maybe you're right. Maybe they didn't both have to go in, Pam. But honestly, I think both of them wanted to get as many Scrabble pieces as quickly as they could. And
I think they both had to jump. They both had to participate in the jump on the tire, whether they collected letters or not.
So they had to. You're telling me they had to go up there one time?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Really. Maybe that was in the rules. And then after that, Justine just camped out at the Scrabble board while Tyson just went into overdrive.
Yeah. I think that was their strategy. Yeah. I'm sure the comments, they'll tell us.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will. Please, we love to hear from you. So please comment in the comment section below. And final thoughts, ladies, on episode 2. Oh, say, can you see Tiffany?
Yeah, I think that there's something that's left partially open-ended, and maybe I'm overthinking this because maybe the girls from Love Island aren't as connected to the guys from Love Island as they were playing up in the beginning of this episode, but they were all about Tiff's coming in on our guys, Tiff's trying to strong arm our guys from Love Island. But I mean, Justine was pretty quick to sacrifice Cashel to get rid of Tiffany. So that's like a hate-love thing. So if Cashel's like a Love Island guy, then your hate for Tiffany outweighed your alliance to Cashel.
Well,
so I wonder.
Justine and Cashel weren't on the same show, so they don't know it the same season. So like they probably have other than they were on the same franchise. It's like they don't have any allegiance to each other.
Okay, so maybe I'm overthinking, but don't you think it loosens the ties then? Because everyone's been like, I'm Survivor, I'm Love Island. To me, it might loosen up Love Island. And, maybe it's Love Island girls and Love Island guys. Because if I'm a Love Island guy, I might be like, oh, shit. She
wanted Tiffany out. That was her motive. And Kira, which I don't recall him breaking her heart, but maybe in the real life that he did. She's like, he broke my heart.
She said he cheated. She said he cheated.
And she was like, she said he cheated and he broke my heart and I'm not giving them, let's get him fucking out. So I think that also motivated. It was like, Tiffany, I don't want her sniffing around my ex.
And Cashel's also a dog, so he's like a bad egg of the Love Island guys. So like, get him out, sort of thing. I guess was what
Well,
those
I don't know if he's
guys
a bad egg per se, but there was reasons for, it's like he also broke Kira's heart. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
like he's not trusting.
Um,
I think that's what they were like, yeah. And if they're so easily manipulated by her, like when are they going to turn on us? Yeah, I think there was sort of, they explained the motive for them throwing him under the bus. But I
Final
think
thought for me is Tyson obviously has the most money in the house now. I don't know if that puts a target on his back or actually keeps him more safe, because hear me out here. If you go up against Tyson and you actually win, then you have the most money in the house and people might be gunning for you. However, I also realize you only need $5,000 to make it to a final. So do they just leave Tyson alone at this point and he skates the rest of the way? Because like, why would you want the most money and have that target? But then again, you only need $5,000. It's not really, is it that hard to get $5,000? I'm sorry, but I don't think I think they needed to make it 10. I think it needed to be more money that you had to get.
It doesn't matter. Getting $5,000 still doesn't mean you're in the final, though. Remember, we talked about this. It just means you're able to.
100. No, but that's not my point, Pamela. But people are gonna be gunning later by the end of the show. There's only be someone with like $1,000. Like, okay, you got to put me in elimination against someone that has over $5,000. I can't get in right now.
Easy to get, though. That's what I'm saying. Like everyone who's good and wins a thing or beats.
So do you want to like kind of skate along with like 4,000 for a really long time, then just get your last 1,000 on like the last thing? You know, who knows how it's going to work? I think it should have been 10,000 to qualify, not 5,000. I think it's too easy.
Your point is, so if the pace is set and Tyson just keeps winning, even if he loses one here and there, there's not a lot of guys that are making it.
Here's the thing. If Tyson keeps winning, eventually they're going to have to go against him because a bunch of none of us have any money. He has all the money. Exactly. He wins everything. So he's a huge target on his back. Not because they want to go against him, though. They
each
have
person
to.
That wins in an elimination is going to get someone's money.
Yes, but what if it's like 1,000? What if they each, like tonight, they each had $1,000 extra? It wasn't a big deal. They have $2,000 now.
Oh,
it's still not enough.
I don't know. But I think Tyson is a wild card that we're gonna have to see if he just gets to dominate, or if people start trying to take him down. Is going to be, because I can't think of, no one comes to mind right now that like could beat him easily. Like there's no one that I'm like, I
don't know. I think Danny and Xavier are
two. Well, Danny and Xavier I think are the closest, but so far they haven't come close to beating him in anything.
And so and his threat Cachel's already gone. So
and yeah. I think it'll have to matter on the skill set that challenge requires, you know. So it's, again, like we've said, hard to find a weakness in Tyson. Like, I don't know, we see James fall today. We see Leo fall today. We see some of the guys maybe not be the best swimmers or sailors or whatever the case may be, but maybe the type of challenge could be set up to benefit some of the other guys. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, again, when it comes to mano a mano, like a physical, like that's when I think you put Danny against Tyson in a hall brawl. I'm sorry, Tyson, your strategy's not gonna. Right. It's gonna be hard to take him out. Like it's just gonna be hard. Or even a full wrestle when you do just physical strength, because I think Tyson is good, obviously great at these things, but also super duper smart, which is half the battle. Like we see with CT, he's good, but he's also smart.
I mean, if only they would be as literal as the challenge producers were that one season when Fessy, the entire season, was like, I want hall brawl, I want hall brawl, I want hall brawl. And they gave the guy like 2 fucking hall brawls in a season. And it was like, is this
so that's like, how you're going to make it to the final, Fessy?
Right. I felt so insulted as a viewer. I was like, sure, just give him a hall brawl because anyone's going to beat him in this. Great.
There's Amber M. Yeah, it's like he might as well have had it against. It's like, come on, that's just silly.
Like, let's
and he still played dirty. Like stuff on Nelson's head.
Yeah, it's just
so. Final thought for me: David sucks. This dude's in way over his head, especially tonight. Especially in the waters tonight. This dude has no idea what's going on. He cannot put a sentence together without, like, he can't do basic math. This guy he is not a good challenger. If he does well, I'll be shocked.
No, he's terrible. And again, he was on Big Brother and he went home first. So like we all viewers, it's like, oh, he seemed like he had so much potential. Like he came and it's like, nope, he's a lemon. Like he did not have potential.
Lemon.
He is. He's a lemon. Like, then they brought him back to All Stars or something, or something, just because everyone was like, "Oh man, I wish, like, oh, what crappy luck! Like, was that a weird fluke that he lost the first thing and went home?" And it's like, no, he sucks. And now it's like thrice we've learned, yes, it's him.
Yeah, I just simply wrote like David is David. Like here he is again.
He's
Here's
not
David.
good at
Like
things.
flops right away, falls right off of the tire buoy. It's just not even in there for a second.
And is so sure of himself and so performs so badly. It's like a beautiful delusion to watch, because the confidence at first you're thinking,
however we gotta get through this life. Good for you, David. I wish I could have that confidence. Let's have you on.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining us for episode 2 of the Challenge USA, which, by the way, ladies, if you look at the title, it'll still say MTV really small, the Challenge USA. So it still does keep, it's technically MTV's Challenge still. It's just on CBS. So now it'll still, you'll see it's a little corner thing. You'll say MTV, the Challenge USA. Yeah.
Oh, they really should just put Rob Dyrdek's intro into, the
first Pamela would freak out.
Yeah.
She does not, she despises that intro.
Yeah.
The actual real song played in a movie.
And you couldn't stand it.
It's a real song. No,
yeah,
it's
so
by different people, and it's not as terrible when it's
Rob got the rights. Rob actually, they gave him the rights to use that song in his intro, and he recorded it with them. It's kind of a fun sidebar. Yeah.
So do they get paid every time the song is played?
That might be why they agreed to the rights. Yes.
Right.
Quadruple billionaires.
They were like, "Hey guys, I know you probably don't want me using this song, but I'm going to air this thing 20 times a day, and you get said amount of money each time."
Like, do you know the show MTV Music Television channel? Yeah, it's just gonna be all ridiculous.
And do you know Pamela Jill Gross? You're gonna get to piss her off too.
Added bonus.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to the guys for tuning in, because we really do appreciate it. We love that you tune in for us and give us comments. It really means a lot to us, because we love this and we do it for you. So thank you. That was my sincere message. So I was like, no, I'm excited. Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Definitely give us some comments, and give nice comments. But if you want to give me like one bad comment, like that's fun too. I don't mind at all.
Only one, so you're limited. So if you see one bad, then you can't do it.
No, I was gonna say each person gets one bad, but sure, yours is bad.
Wow.
And can we hashtag the Challenge Trinity?
I also just want to say,
DJ,
that for the 10th millionth time, I'm watching Jersey Shore again, and it's just
Jenna. Catch up on all your olds. You gotta catch up on Big Brother, so we can talk about that on our page.
So Jenna, I've watched every Jersey Shore.
Quick, sorry, I'm busy.
You're not too busy for Jersey Shore.
I've watched every Jersey Shore prequel, sequel, whatever the hell they're doing now. I've yet to start this one yet. I'm just like because they've sucked for a while now. Let's be real, but I watch them all. How is this one really bad?
Oh no, I don't watch anything recent. Sorry, when I say Jersey Shore,
Jersey Shore.
I mean Jersey Shore season 1 to 4. Like
I
don't watch Family Vacation.
The new season just came out. That's why I was asking. It's the only thing I have not watched. I've watched everything. So yeah.
Yeah, when I say Jersey Shore, I'm talking they're in Seaside, or they're possibly in Miami or Italy. But
I've rewatched those way too many times too, by the way. Yes. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. See you next week.
I love you.
Bye.